Alright, this is the Autohound take one of what we're doing today. We're going to try this point of view thing, and hopefully we'll be able to get some good action. We're in the 2020 Jaguar E-Pace, and we are going to head down and pick up some muffins for the wife. But I just wanted to see what would happen if we were to try to GoPro on the hat, a little point of view style. See if you guys like this type of stuff. If you don't, you can certainly let me know. Certainly you can see a little bit better with it. Don't have to worry about holding a camera in my hand. And away we go. So I went for a drive with this last night with some friends of mine, and I wanted to kind of give you all some understanding of what this car really can do. You know, I've kind of been not nice to it as far as my review of it, just because there were some issues that started when I first bought the car, but they've since been resolved, and the car has been pretty much rock solid ever since. It goes quickly, it is very good on gas, and it also has a real kind of solid feel. It feels very planted to the ground, and you don't find that in a lot of SUVs, at least a lot of the SUVs that I've driven in the past. I think the newer the SUVs, the tighter everything is. It's more sporty. The seats, I think, are very comfortable. In addition to that, it's also just a nice running car. It's a 4-cylinder turbo. The turbo lag, I should say, isn't even there. The turbo spools up pretty quickly. If this gentleman in the GMC would get out of my way, I could actually demonstrate that. So we're going to slow down just a tad here and see what happens. There we go. And as you can see, it kind of just kicks right in. Winds right up to red line. Pushes hard on the corners. It's a nice little car. So this is what we kind of do. We want to make sure that we have a car that runs nicely and you have a good experience as you're driving it. And I think that that's what the car manufacturers are doing now. Everything is about the experience of what you're driving, as opposed to it just being basic transportation, which I think is nice. As you can see, no noise in the car whatsoever. It is dead quiet. It rides so smooth. It's supple. You hit a bump in it, you can barely feel it. I'll aim for a couple of bumps here just to give you guys a heads up on how we're doing it. And it just seems weird that I'm recording as I'm driving it, so I'm trying to very cool. And away we go. That noise that you just heard in the back, if you did hear it, was just something rolling around in the back. It's got a fairly small trunk space. I think that's one of the knockdowns of this car, is because the back shape is so angular, you get a lot less trunk space than you would hope of a typical SUV. As you can see by the GMC in front of me, that's got a nice square back. So you're able to fit a lot more things in it, higher things, wider things, and longer things. And I think that's important when you're driving an SUV. This is not just a grocery getter, but if it was just a grocery getter, it is a little underwhelming. Having gotten groceries in it for the past 2.5 years, it's certainly, that's where it needs its improvements. If I were the people at Jaguar, I'd certainly be, you know, looking into seeing how I could get more space on the interior of the cabin as far as the storage goes. I mean, the actual seats are wonderful, and as you can see, the car just takes off, and this guy's not going to be happy. There we go. interestingly enough, the car handles remarkably well. And, you know, that's 45 miles an hour around the corner with no issues. I gotta be careful when I get out of the car because I just dropped my glasses. So don't step on those, Eric. Oh, look at that. Old Mercury Grand Marquis. The original 1990s boat. Actually 80s and 90s boat. And he's driving it like a boat because he's all over the road. But those were super comfortable cars. It was like driving your living room. If you haven't had a chance to drive one, I'd recommend it. They're a lot of fun. They have a ton of power, 5-liter engine, you know, 0 to 60 times forever, but they do drive like it is a, like I said, like it's your living room. It's just like a sofa, just driving around with a big TV in front of you, which is your window. So comfortably cruising at 80 miles an hour. It is dead silent in the cabin. I'm going to shut up for a second so you can hear it. Slow down here because there's usually a state trooper parked over in the median strip here. So if you live in Massachusetts up by Linfield, you know exactly where I'm talking about. This exit over here, which is now exit 61, there's usually a state trooper right there, but he's not there today. So let's just accelerate and you'll see what the car really does. The car also has adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, all the nannies that you would expect in a car like this. I don't use the lane keep assist. I prefer to drive my car as opposed to have it drive me. Although the lane keep assist, although the adaptive cruise control is quite nice, and you can set it at whatever speed and follow whatever car's in front of you, and it'll stay there and keep you at a nice safe distance. You can change the distance by using these buttons down here. This shortens the distance, this extends the distance out. Like I said, just quiet in the car. There's no noise whatsoever. It's very nice. There's some traffic here. It's not a world beater as far as SUVs go, but it certainly is competent. It's capable. It's one of those cars you look at and you're like, okay, it definitely will do its job. I've had it in the snow multiple times. I've had it in the rain, and it drives just as good. It handles well. I haven't found any issues with it. I'm gonna try to cut over here and get off at this exit. Guy in the Jeep's gonna let me go, which is nice of him. Thank you, guy in the Jeep. You know, Jaguar is owned by a company called Tata Motors. They're out of India, and they've done a good job at keeping the brand alive. With all of the switcheroos that have happened with Jaguar being owned by Jaguar, and then switching over to being owned by Ford, where Ford just basically tore the brand apart. They, you know, were taking Jaguars and Aston Martins, and they just didn't make a good car. Basically, it was, you know, they would take two Ford Taurus 6-cylinder engines, weld them together, and call it a 12-cylinder, which, while was an impressive feat of engineering, it wasn't the, I don't know, it just you can see parts bin specials everywhere. You know, parts from, you know, the Ford Fusion and the Mazda. It wasn't what I would call a luxury car. Now they've kind of gone away from that with Tata Motors, and I think they're pulling the parts out of the right bins, and these cars don't look like anything else on the road, which I think that's the problem we're running into in the world with cars. I think is that there's no cars that are just unique and amazing looking anymore. Everything looks the same. You know, as much as I love the new C8 Corvette, sometimes, you know, it's driving toward me and I'm like, is that a Ferrari? Oh wait, no, it's not a Ferrari. It's a C8 Corvette. But they had to do that just to kind of keep up, and they are world beater cars as far as performance goes, you know. But I just think that when you're looking at cars now, there's no special styling. There's nothing that sets it apart. You can see we get some bumpy road here. I took this road on purpose and also to avoid traffic, but you can see it's a little bumpy, and we'll see how it comes out on the video. So this is one of those things where it's a test run, and I'm probably going to run the entire clip just so you all can see it and see what happens here. How about driving one of those every day? Humvee? No, I don't think so. I've driven a Humvee before. They are notoriously uncomfortable, unwieldy, and honestly, just not a lot of fun to drive. You figure you get a 7,000 pound vehicle, when it goes to go to a stop, it just rocks back and forth at the red light just because of the inertia of the car. Wants to keep going. It moves back and forth a few times. You get a little seasick in it, to be honest with you. So we are almost at our destination. So this is the Autohound. I appreciate you watching. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I filmed anything. So remember, if you like this type of content, especially this type of point of view type driving, please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, it's about the drive.